Hello, hello, welcome to Leave Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leave Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And I want to talk about stoking the witchcraft fire. I'm just going to break this up and it's more like I like to use myself, my own narrative, my own experiences, because that's the best way for me to explain kind of what I'm talking about. For me to stoke the witchcraft fires, which is important, means a lot about defining your desires, defining what is it that you really want, and be honest with yourself. Um, is it what you really want, this thing that you said you're desiring? Do you want it right now? And is it for the long term? Have you thought about that? Sometimes we desire certain things and we're not thinking long term. And it's okay sometimes to have, the fun things, that we kind of want to bring into our lives, manifest, if you will. But you might want to, if you're about to conjure all this energy and direct it into the universe, maybe you want to be, a little clear about what it is that you're actually desiring, right? And how are you going to feel once that desire is realized, once it's manifested? Can you tap into that energy? Do you think you know how you'll really feel? Um, and then I think you should really journal to get those answers, or to write down those answers, journal that information, those answers. Employ visualization to kind of picture what it looks like. Let's say you need a new car. Um, what does that look like? What is that going to look like? The car itself, how you feel, but tap into how you feel, not just this abstract item or this tangible thing, but how do you feel behind the car? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you're in style? Do you feel good? Tap into that energy. And then searching around for the things that you desired, like look around, if you, the car analogy, look around at those cars. How do you feel when you see that? Can you really picture yourself behind the wheel of that car and it's yours? What does that bring up for you? And pay attention, because this is a time to decide if it's what you really want or if it's something you think you're supposed to want. Designer handbags, cars, luxury items. Sometimes um, maybe we're not the people who have luxury items, and we're looking at that and we're thinking, oh, that must be nice. And, when given the opportunity, if you're doing group work or something like that, where we're manifesting, because that's big, right? You think, well, a designer handbag, a designer car, expensive luxury car or something like that. When it's really not even your style. Like, the reason you don't have luxury items, it's not so much about money, because you've had access to money. You just didn't want to blow $3,000 on a handbag or spend $50,000 to $60,000 on a car. It's not that you couldn't, if you're honest with yourself and you really think these things out. It's just not you. So why are you trying to manifest it? And then that's almost like the proof it didn't work. All this witchcraft stuff, manifesting and law of attraction. It doesn't really work. Yes, it does. It's not what your heart really desires. So the universe is not going to show up. Um, or honestly, worse, you do actually put the energy behind it. You own this thing. You can't afford it. You have it. Because nobody talks about that aspect of witchcraft. That's a fun fact. Um, I've done that. I've manifested something I couldn't really manage and maintain. That's why you have to kind of look at the bigger picture. So, how do you prepare and then know when to take your leap? Um, Stoking the witchcraft fires. That's what we're doing right now. How do you know when it's okay to do it, to jump, to leap into this? We're out of the conceptualizing and the thinking and the feeling and tapping into our emotions, just visualizing. When do we make it happen? Um, Divination. I think divination, pulling some cards, looking some rooms, looking at some water, um, dream work to some aspect, getting readings done for you, working with a mentor, The mentor, at least the way I do my mentorship, is not about what I say and how I do things. It's more of me helping you to develop how do you feel about it? What are your triggers? What are the signs and symbols? What do they mean to you? And learning to tap into that and basically trusting your intuition. That's kind of how I do mine. So, anyway, but yeah, working with a mentor, a coach, a spiritual coach, and they're going to help guide you. And they can also, hopefully, they're doing readings for you and they're working with you to help you kind of understand the path that you makes sense for you to be on based on your desires, your true heart's desires. And then spirit guides, listening to your spirit guides. They're sending you messages. Listen, feel, tap into that information. Again, it taps back into your intuition. All of it does, really, which is listening to your gut. What's your gut feeling? Your instinct. What does it tell you immediately? Now, this is going to be important because you have to learn to distinguish your gut instinct from fear, because fear can masquerade as gut instinct. And we don't do things that we really would prefer to be doing because the fear kicks in. So you have to learn to distinguish that as well. And there's this old saying, think long, think wrong, think long, think wrong. Don't overanalyze. Trust your timing. If it feels right, even if it makes you it feels exciting with a lace of fear, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's exciting. It's exhilarating. And ever heard of calculated risk? Sometimes, there is a risk component, but you do it. So what is that? Speaking your desires out loud, writing your desires down, believing you're worthy of getting what you desire. That is a big one. I find for myself, even now, there's this idea that I know I can say, I look at you down through this camera and I say, of course I know I'm worthy of the things that I desire, of course. And there are moments though when I'm thinking of certain things where it's like, it's not, I guess when you boil it all down, it does come to that. A lot of us don't want to admit it, but sometimes, you have these thoughts and it's like, are you aiming, are you getting flying too close to the sun, I always joke, I girl boss my way too close to the sun in certain scenarios when things don't work out. But yeah, are you tired to take too much on? Are you aiming too high? That really translates to worthiness. So watch those thoughts. Even if you're kind of like joking, the universe doesn't always get the joke. So be careful with those types of conflicting thoughts. I know that's something that I'm careful of as well. But yeah, believe you're worthy of getting what you desire. I have a whole video series out where I talk about manifesting a lifestyle. You have to believe you're worthy of that. You have to believe it's possible. It's not for this woman or that guy. It's not for the person who's educated, the person who looks aesthetically pleasing to everyone else, whatever that is. It's not for the person who already has money or has connections. That lifestyle's not just for them. I would caution you, though, if you have a lot of envy around others who you think are living this lifestyle that you would desire to live, tap into that energy and let's journal about it and let's get into that. Why is that? You're going to have to be honest with yourself. Stoking the witchcraft fires is honesty. It's cutting, it's raw, because fire is going to expose it all. It's going to strip everything away. And that's what we're doing. You're going to need to accept that shadow self, those darker emotions, those emotions that aren't so love and light. And we all got it. We all have it. So just be willing to accept that you do. Examine these emotions and where is it coming from? Why do you feel that way? Because honestly, doing all this work makes it possible for you to actually have successful spells. Bring those desires into your reality in a successful way. It actually works, is what I'm saying, because you need to get down and burn all the other crud away that's societal standards, and to, what what you think you should be doing based on your parents, your siblings, what your job, your peers, and, or just watching how life goes on. Maybe that's not you. I talked about this in a video. I had this idea in my head that I was lazy and that there was something wrong with me because I didn't seem to have this work ethic that I saw others have. And once I peeled all that away, it wasn't that I didn't have a work ethic. I do have an excellent work ethic when I believe in the work that I'm doing. But if I find it BS, if I find that I'm being exploited, or honestly demeaning, or worse, it's just not for me. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but that work is just not for me. Yeah, I don't have a great work ethic, and that's fine. For me, keeping my home was important to me for many years as a homemaker. So I put the work into that, and I didn't love every aspect. Like, I don't love cleaning bathrooms. Like, come on, let's just. But I love having a clean bathroom, and that's where my work ethic shows because I want the end result. Um, that's a whole other story. um, feel the feels. Stoking the witchcraft fire is about feeling the feels. A lot of times we're told, "Oh, you're too emotional. You're too emotional." It's I wouldn't say too emotional. I would say feel the feels, let it roll over you like a wave. I describe that when I work with people about grief. Some of us have grief in our lives. We're still grieving on some capacity. We're really missing people who have passed on. And I describe it as stop trying to resist. Stop trying to resist. Let the wave wash over you. Feel the feels. It's sad. You want to cry. You want to fight. You want to yell. Plan for that. Plan for that. Get a punching bag. Punch pillows. Scream. Find a place. Get a pillow. Put it over your mouth and scream into it. Cry. If you can't cry, go in the shower. Go in the bathroom. Let it out. Let the wave wash over you. Unfortunately, these waves don't always come at the most opportune time. You might be sitting across from someone trying to impress them for maybe a job or some other business venture. And no, you get this wave come over you. I get it. You might have to pause that a little bit and then let that wave continue to go over you, and excuse yourself, and then feel the feels is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, let your emotions happen. Stop trying to suppress it. This idea that emotions are bad is just, except for anger. Don't even get me started. You're allowed to express anger. Well, as a woman, they're funny about that. So I don't know. Are there any emotions that we're allowed to express? Isn't that ridiculous? Feel the feels. But be present and stay aligned as best as you can. Acknowledge these emotions. Acknowledge how you feel about things, good or bad. Acknowledge it. um, Let it happen, and then be present. Stay in the present because you're in the present, and stay aligned to overall what it is that you're trying to accomplish. What are you trying to bring to you? Um, if you desire to be more healthy, have a healthy lifestyle, um, don't go have casual, unprotected sex. I'm trying to give you examples here. If you desire to purchase your new home, you want a house, and you use magic because the market is crazy right now. Everything is much more expensive, so you're looking for magical influence to make it possible. Well, educate yourself on the home buying process. You can do some spells, and I please do. Educate yourself. You can't stay ignorant of how the system works, how everything works, and expect to have the result of having a home. You have to put yourself in the trenches. You've got to learn how they do things. One, you can use that in your spell work because once you understand the process of purchasing a home, what it is they want, you can tailor your spells so that you qualify, so that you are in a position to get that house that you want. Because you can find, because let's say your issues, it's about the income. You worked on your credit, you figured that out, so you're good. But it's just the income because you want to qualify for a specific type of home, and they're saying, no, you don't make enough money for that. Well, let's go ahead and work on that in a spell. But you would have to understand income to debt ratio. You would have to understand the type of credit that they're looking for to even know that you meet that first criteria. You see what I mean? You have to educate yourself, and then you can tailor your spells accordingly. So um, that's staying present and aligned and allowing yourself to still get into it. Let that emotion drive you. That emotion is going to make this thing work. And that desire, that burning desire, that strong desire, you're going to want that. You're going to want to ride that wave and to feel those feels to get you through this process. My final words on this stoking the witchcraft fires. Um, Experience joy. Happy people, people who feel wealthy, and wealthy is, define it as you will. People who feel lucky. People who feel like, I don't know, life just seems to work out for me. People who talk like that, the universe tends to show up in that manner. I had a conversation. I may even talk about this in videos before, where I noticed people who, there are certain people who just, I use this example. I grew up in New Jersey, South Jersey, so a lot of people have a shore house. I grew up around people, not a beach house, a shore house. That's what you say, Jersey. So yeah, we're going to the shore. We're going down to the shore. You would hear things like that, to the shore house. And these people were not rich by any standards or wealthy, yet they managed to have a shore house. And I know people who sometimes it was within the family, other times they purchased it. And I'm like, how is it, no matter what, they always go on vacations, they always go down to the shore house? How is it? And I'm seeing, like, how, like, you get a general idea what people make, like, salary wise, and you're like, is there some income stream I'm not familiar? Well, one, it is their parents, but don't nobody want to talk about that. Don't even get me started on that. The number of people who are out here, I did it all by myself. Yeah, but your grandma died and left y'all inheritance, or she left you a property and y'all flipped that, and you have money sitting aside. Like, well, that was just a small piece, but there are a lot of people who never. That's not even a possibility. There's a large number of people that's not a possibility. So that is a level of wealth that you do have access to. And I'm not saying feel bad about it, but don't run around saying you did it all by yourself when you in fact did not. End rant. But no, they would go down to the shore. That it always happened. I felt like they were the mindset. Well, no, we always go here, so it just happens. It is what it is. That level of thinking, makes it possible for it to be what it is every time. Like, it just is what it is. Doesn't mean they don't have issues, health concerns, hurricanes, because nobody's talking about the fact that Jersey is going through it. Weather-wise, like, it's not the Jersey I grew up with, but that's another climate change is real. Nobody wants to really talk about that. And those shore houses and what's happening in that rant. Anyway, but yeah, they believe it is so it is. That's just part of their life. Start getting in that mindset. Even if you don't have the thing, the experience yet, tap into it as if you do. Make your own version of it. Staycation, start with that. Picking up on a vacation example, start with a staycation. Staycation is in your house. Get an inflatable kiddie pool, put your feet in it, you are poolside. Roll with that. Experience joy. It's funny, it's silly. Let it happen. Build on that. Stop just sitting. Yes, visualize, do all that stuff. Stoking witchcraft fires is action oriented. And I'm going to definitely push action, being very sun sign Aries. I'm going to push you. Leap taking, where do you think this comes from? To not do and to just sit on my hands and not do is really denying who I am. It's a big part of who I am. And you notice there's someone told me that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of like millionaires and people, I guess in positions of authority, tend to be Aries. And I could get that. We're very action oriented. I mean, I don't have the secret formula for everybody, but I know it starts with doing, witchcraft included. You got to do it. You know, you got to actually put things in motion. Push yourself a little, just a little bit. Um, the other thing is going with the flow. Back to me talking about that wave when I use the grief example, when that wave comes over you, let the wave come over. Think of how waves work in the ocean. It comes over, washes over, it's big, and it feels like you get swallowed up for a minute now. But that water comes, it recedes, it goes back out. And then, you know, don't let the wave take you out into the ocean and drown you. And, you know, be your anchor, know that it's coming, release, just let it happen. Actually, look at that experience of being washed, the grief is coming in and then being washed away. You know, visualize that. But going with the flow in life in general helps. Readjusting, quick, you know, we talk a lot for years, people talk about alchemy. Mental alchemy really is that. Just taking situations and kind of rebranding it in your mind's eye, you know, in your thoughts. Um, oh man, they changed my schedule and I have to work an hour earlier. I hate getting up in the morning. Okay, that's one way to look at it. But another way of looking at it is, dang, I'm getting off an hour early. So instead of getting off at 5, I get off at 4. I can get so much done in that hour. Like, you know, doctor's appointments now, like the doctor closes at 5, I can get a 4:30 appointment and I'm good. And I don't have to take off of work. Or, you know, this is an opportunity for me to, I guess, kind of wake up a little earlier and see what that's like. And maybe I can get some more stuff done in the morning now because I'm forced to wake myself up a bit earlier. Maybe it's an opportunity for me instead. You know, maybe something positive is going to come out of this. Um, you know, just refocusing, rebranding, as I call it. Your thoughts can be super helpful. Um, Doing work that makes sense for your timing is key. When I say doing work, like, this is where all the, these are just kind of tying everything together. What you truly desire, do you really want this? What does it look like for you to have these things? You say you want to be married, you want a provider, you want one of those high value men. No, seriously though, like you want to be married, you want to be home with your kids, you desire this life. Um, you don't have any children yet, you've never been married. Okay, cool. All right, so you know, you're 40, and you want this experience, you've been working on your career. Really ask yourself, you're okay with the babies, okay, you'll do that. You're okay, obviously the marriage, you meet the guy, okay. You're 40 years old. You have been pouring into this career. Are you really ready to give it all up? I mean, some of us, the answer is yes. But for some women or people, I don't know if I should say women, but maybe not. If you're really honest with yourself, you've made connections, you've poured so much into it. And it's not a thing of, oh, I just put all this energy into it. No, but you feel like there's still more room to go. You know, you get the husband, you get that experience, you get that opportunity to have children and stay home. But do you really want that? You know, sometimes we think we should want these things, but maybe you really don't want that life. And it's okay. It's okay. Or you know what? On the flip side, you desire it because the husband hasn't come along. You poured yourself into your work, into your career. But ultimately, yeah, you're great at it, but that's not what you really want to be great at. You really do want to be a stay-at-home mom. Um, a lot of times, when I talk about timing, we don't trust the timing. You might have had opportunities. I know it's hard to hear that. That came along, but maybe it didn't look the way you thought it would look. Because see, being a stay-at-home mom, a lot of people think They have this idea, oh, I got to make six figures to do that, or I got to make, and then six figures is a whole other conversation. It's got to be at least $500,000 a year coming into the household before I'm willing to stay at home because I don't want to be poor. And it's like, okay. It never dawned on you that maybe you might be living in a small town where the cost of living is not that high. So, the guy making 95 grand or $90,000 a year through various, sources can take care of his family just fine. It's not clicking because that's not part of how your picture. So you're missing that opportunity. That guy that you met on at the airport where you were, flying for the position, the work that you're doing, or, you never looked at him twice because he just didn't fit the narrative you have in your head um, about what you thought it should look like, that type of thing. A lot of us miss opportunities. We really do. And it's hard to admit um, because you have to learn to trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your intuition, pay attention to signs, and really be present. If you're present, you could pick up on things. You could pick up on energy that the other person is admitting, but I won't go too far into that one. But learn to sense your timing and do your work accordingly. All right, so that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the join button if you're interested in the Leap Taken memberships. I would really appreciate it. And if there are any services that I offer that you're interested in, go ahead and look at leaptaken.com and check those out as well. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.